At listenuptv.com, we take faith conversations one step deeper. Check out our blogs, send us your questions, and let us know what you think. That's listenuptv.com. Welcome back. We're exploring when faith causes harm and the efforts underway to counteract bad belief. It's an issue of conflict between differing faith groups, especially between Christian and Muslim. An issue felt even to the point of losing life and liberty. Here's what we found.
7 Christian churches, a Sikh temple, and a mosque are attacked after a government ruling overturns a ban on the use of the word Allah. More than 100 Christian homes are ransacked by a Muslim mob. 7 Christian churches are bombed in Baghdad and Mosul in the space of 3 days. Into the turmoil caused by religious extremism comes a voice with a message of peace.
We broadcast to the Middle East. Our target, the majority, which are Muslim people in the Middle East and North Africa.
The show is called Let There Be Light. Broadcasting weekly via satellite, host Nizar Shaheen has been teaching Christianity to Arabic-speaking audiences for more than 25 years.
To shed light on many misconceptions about Christianity and many misunderstandings concerning the Bible and the teaching of the New Testament, and also that involve around the person of Jesus Christ. We try to explain about the most important thing. God revealed His nature, His character, His attributes. In other words, God is love. And Jesus revealed God, and He taught not only about love, but He offered His life because He is love. The message of Jesus to love everyone unconditionally. Not only that, He said, love your enemies.
Through the weekly broadcast, Nizar and his team attempt to teach that it's not only important what you believe, but what you believe in.
Jesus' message is love. It's against hate, against extremism, against the sword, against violence, against terror. In fact, when we talk about love, we talk about forgiveness and acceptance and tolerance.
In our next report, Ricky Ratliff meets a man who helps battle religious radicalism among Muslim youth. He met with a 15-year-old who would later become Canada's first convicted terrorist.
Well, this is actually a center for Muslim youth. We also encourage anybody to come use the center, but it's a place for them to come and feel comfortable, have a place where they can play games and also practice the religion and not feel threatened from maybe outside forces that we don't necessarily agree with.
It's called P4E, or Paradise Forever. And while it serves Muslim youth, it has yet to receive broad support from the Muslim community. Though it looks like any youth drop-in center, with its games and weights, this is a drop-in with a difference. And why is this program necessary to this community?
Well, especially for new converts, we find that they come into the religion and don't get much support. So by allowing them to come here and have a place to stay, we also keep them away from the two extremes. One is the extreme secularists who don't believe in any principles, and the other extreme is the people who maybe want to harm people around the world for no good reason.
But not every extremist is open to considering more moderate ideologies. Working through a local Muslim shelter nearby, Heft admits he once tried to debate the ringleader of the Scarborough terror cell. He also counseled some of the co-accused, including the young man charged with plotting to behead the Prime Minister. And it's through those same shelter doors that Canada's first convicted terrorist passed, but was later refused help because his age, 15 at the time, legally prevented access to their services.
It's what I call do-it-yourself Islam. They're basically taking verses of the Quran out of context and justifying the way they feel. See, a lot of Muslims might be emotionally caught up in what's going on around the world, and instead of looking at things from a better perspective, they're looking at the world with a half-empty glass of water instead of half full. So they're assuming that everything's negative. So when they're looking in the Quran, they're looking for ways to justify those feelings. Instead of looking for ways to understand why the Muslims are in the predicament they're in, they're looking for ways to blame.
Meanwhile, at another facility that works at communicating to Muslims, Christian broadcaster Muhammad and his wife Sally say their community must also react to the radicalization of a few.
For me as a Christian, my response will be different from others, because when I react to this attack, I need to open the Bible and see how God taught us to react to these attacks. So when I open my Bibles in Matthew 5 verse 44, God said in His word, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecuted you. So God is telling us how to deal with these attacks. God is asking us to pray for the people who are attacking us.
For this couple, caring for extremists means educating them. They do that through internet broadcasting.
This is Arabic channel. And right now we're having a children's program.
Okay. Muhammad, why is this ministry so important to you?
Because I love Muslims. They are my family. They are my people. And I want to give them the truth. So
What is the truth?
the truth is Jesus Christ loved them, and He wants to save them, and He wants to take their sin away from them, and He wants them to have eternal life with Jesus Christ.
You've got to help Canadians understand how young men could get so wrapped up in an ideology to the point that they would be led to extremism.
What happens is, once these young men start practicing and taking a look at what's going on in the world, they see the Muslims as being picked on. And they find the solution to be a struggle with these unbelievers, and they want to pick up weapons to fight, which they don't realize our weapon is our faith. And our hope is to guide people to Islam, not annihilate them. So even when people are doing something to us, in principle, we're only allowed to give back what Islam allows.
At the core of this is the struggle to show Islam as a religion of peace, and yet there are Quranic passages referred to as the sword passages that incite jihad. What do you have to say about this?
The whole thing is, you have to realize you can't take things out of context. As Muslims, we're not pacifists. If somebody comes in my house and wants to hurt my family, I'm definitely going to defend the rights of my family. But to take one verse in the Quran or several verses in the Quran talking about, for example, smiting their heads or attacking the infidels or the people against Islam, these were during the times of battle. But the history of Islam shows in Andalusia and other places, Christians, Muslims, and Jews always lived together. So it had nothing to do with wanting to kill people. It has to do with being able to defend your religion and being able to fight back when you feel that you're oppressed.
When Listen Up returns, Christianity and Islam. Both faiths have their extremists. We'll hear how one man converted from Christian faith to Islam and another traded his Muslim beliefs to follow Jesus Christ. That's next.